Okay, welcome everyone. Good evening. Thank you for joining this webinar with us. It's been a pleasure to have these series of webinars so far, and this is just another night with one of our very last webinars. Actually, we are almost to the end of the series and also the closer to the end of our project, but for now, it's still going on, and this evening we will have three of our colleagues here, Kiki, Rafal, and Magda, to present to us one of our kits on the European Film Factory website, as we've done in the past. It will be focusing on the animated movie Nocturna, which you can find on the EFF website. And without further ado, I will just pass it on to my colleagues, and so you can start hearing about the kit. All right, guys, the floor is yours.
Yeah.
Let me patch to the slides. Yep, there you go.
Okay. Hello. So today we'll talk to you, as Ray said, about a beautiful film entitled Nocturna. But first of all, I'd like to say welcome to our European Film Factory. And I will present you a little bit that film, this animated film is one of animated films on the platform. There are several kits, several blocks of short films, and there you can find some animated films, some animations, but there are also free animated feature films. And it's The Secret of Kells, it's Persepolis that you probably know, and Nocturna, the protagonist of our webinar. Next slide, please. Okay, so some general information about this movie. Nocturna, its title is Spanish, English title, but there is another one, Nocturna la nuit magique, so it's magic night, because film is was directed in cooperation with France. It's an animated fantasy film directed by Adria Garcia and Victor Maldonado, who are young famous Spanish directors, mostly known for animations and some video games also. The film was shot in France and Spain in 2007, 2007, and its language, it's English. The film isn't very long. It's like 80 minutes and is focused, or it's the best for the younger public, 10, 14, that's the public of our class activities that will be presented by my colleagues. But you can watch this film with younger ones as well, and with adults, why not? The main themes of the film are friendship, childhood, adventure, fears, and of course there is this dreamland, fantastic creatures, and tale. May I ask you another? Next slide. So what the film is about, a short presentation, short synopsis. The protagonist of the film, it's a 7-year-old boy, Tim, who is an orphan, and he lives in an orphanage. His main problem, it's his fear of the darkness, and he finds it difficult to sleep at night, and he finds some comfort from a star that he always finds in the sky. It's his favorite star, Adhara. But one night, Tim can't find Adhara, and he can see that stars begin to disappear. So he decides to rescue his star and to discover, and in this way he discovers the surprising world of night, this dreamlight nocturna that is ruled by Mocha, and where so many creatures who make the night extraordinarily. This quest and this journey, in this journey, Tim is accompanied by two characters of the night. It's a cat shepherd and a cat Tobermory, who become his friends. And of course, during this journey, he has many adventures, but he discovers that Nocturna is in danger. There is the shadow who provokes this invasive darkness of dreamland. And Tim has to face and to fight his fear in order to defend all the creatures of Nocturna and in order to save this dreamland. I ask you another slide. We'll present several important elements of this film, how to work with it in our classroom activities. But now I will just talk to you about some contexts about expressive means that you can find in this movie. So as I told already, it's a modern fairy tale. You have this orphan hero who is young. There is a hidden world because Nocturna isn't known neither to Tim nor to any one of us. There is this good and evil Tim and the creatures. Most of creatures of the night, they are good, but there is also the shadow. And it's also a coming of age journey. So Tim, after all the adventures, he becomes a bit more mature. He becomes different as a child. The main subject, the main theme of the film, it's this fear of darkness, and it's a very good film to talk about it, about fears, about this common in children around the world, but is common in adults too. So it's a very good kind of therapy that you can offer to yourself and to your public. As to the technique, it's an animated fantasy film. Directors, Maldonado and Garcia, they choose this hand-drawn 2D animation, a classic one that is combined with computer-generated 3D images. And thanks to this, the pictures, they are very smooth, they are colorful, they are full of light, but also, and they have several very important details. But there are also these scenes more faster, that are quicker, like the run to the lighthouse of the stars or the scene of fight with the shadow. And then the computer generated animation was really important. In a film, in a movie, you can find references to many well-known films, movies, or books. And the directors, they mention, for example, Tim Burton and everyone knows his Edward the Scissorhand or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. There are also Viscara and Genet, who are directors, for example, of City of Lost Children. Or you can find some references to the Studio Ghibli and animated films by Miyazaki. Of course, there are books, there are comic strips, there are several different art presentations that you can mention watching or talking about this film. As to expressive means, the characters don't look realistic. And you can find that the characters are these creatures. They are like toys drawn by children that are a bit scary or not very beautiful. The most realistic are cats that are omnipresent in this night universe. What is important is also light and darkness that are key elements of the plot, but also you can find this contrasts all the time in the film. It represents, of course, good and evil, but not only, because there are scenes where there are the scenes in a full light, very, very bright, that are a bit cruel or sad. And Tim, he can find some comfort during the night in the darker scenery. And there is this right balance, thanks to the directors. There is this right balance between the representation of a dark world from a child's imagination, from his fears, and the representation of a fascinating, fabulous world of Nocturna. What is also important, it's music and voices that emphasize the spirit of the film. There is music composed by a French composer, Herrera, but what is important are the sounds of night, not always very pleasant, like cats or children crying because they wake up a little bit scared. But there are also the smooth, nice lullaby songs or music, and all these elements, all these expressive means, they make Nocturna a fabulous movie. So now it's time for my friends, for my colleagues to talk about some activities with proposed to our students. Thank you very much. Rafa.
Thank you, Magda. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna start with first activity, which we called Visit Dreamland. When you watch Nocturna, you can see how original and specific that movie is, and the most of the original factor is the creation of that dreamland. So we decided that it's good to focus on that. During this activity, you can prepare it easy or intermediate or advanced level. It's up to you. We are all teachers, so we know how to complicate our students' life, so we can make it more advanced if we want to. Of course, we can just make an easy version, and it's going to be directed to the group 11-14 or 15-18. And as I said, it's up to us. We decided that the best measure at the end is going to be a project, and we want to as well see how, their collaboration. So we decided we're going to focus on group work. At the beginning, we decided to use mind map tools, but also you can use another applications which can allow you to to have a brainstorm. And after that, we use a shared synchronous document because we want to see how our students work. And we decided that like the easy level, it's for 2 hours, but as we know, we can just make it shorter or longer. It's up to our group or depends on how much time do we have. And we can use that activity during arts, literature, movie analysis, and also foreign languages classes. And students during this activity learn how to create a dreamland. They learn about the elements of that movie, such as music and the look of the characters, the look of the place, and many more. It's always up to our group and us as well. And as I said at the beginning, like the best way to measure our students' achievement is a discussion or presentation of a poster or a presentation of a short movie or a script or a short story. Uh, can I can I ask you for another slide, please? Okay, so step one, we ask students to use the mind map tool, which is available in the EFF platform or other application, or we can use markers and whiteboard because we need to come up with as many connections as possible with the word sleep. Those connections can be dark, can be easy, can be advanced. We can do it fairly with our students. Because thanks to that, we can build the creation of a dreamland. Then we ask students to write all that elements needed to create a mysterious dreamland. And that mysterious is a keyword because when you watch Nocturna, you'll see it's full of mysteries and it's a dark place. And we need to focus on creatures, colors, music, darkness, building, bridges, etc. It's all up to us and our students as well. Then we ask students to use that mind map tool to try and describe Nocturna. First, of course, between I think step 2 and step 3, we can watch a movie, and after that, we can use a mind map to describe Nocturna, and because we know what to focus on, and after that, we can find those elements in Nocturna movie, and we can write it down because we need to have it, and we need to look at it through this activity. Then we divide students in a few groups and ask them to work on one of 6 elements. Of course, we can divide it in more or less groups. It's up to us and how many students do we have. And also, I think it depends on the age of our students. All right, can I have another slide, please? Okay, so we decided we want to have 2 groups, and they're gonna focus on first one and second. They're gonna work on characters, and in this case, you can use the easy way or the advanced way. If you want to use advanced way, you can ask them to find those characters. If you want to have it easier, then you can provide some photos, posters, or print screens and show them the characters. We decided that first group will focus on Cat, Shepherd, Tobermory, and Mocha, and the second will focus on Team Herr, Messers, and Mr. P. And we provide questions because we think that those questions are really helpful and our students provide the information that we need. So the questions can be like, what do they look like? What do they do? What are their names and why? Are they good or bad, helpful or rude? And what does the music say about them? So it's the first and second group. All right, can I ask for another one? The third group will focus on workers of the night and other creatures. And it's pretty important because after you see Nocturna, you'll see they're playing an important role in that movie. And as I said, we can ask our students to find by themselves or we can help them with that. And whenever we find a few of the creatures, we provide questions such as who are they, what do they look like, what do they do, and why do they do that, what they doing. Okay, uh, all right, can I ask for another one? Okay, the fourth group focuses on music and sounds. If it's advanced, then we ask them to find the music and especially the Whispers concert. If we work with young kids, then we can show them extract. We already prepared that extract. It is a soundtrack from that movie, and that Whispers concert is excellent. And you can hear all the elements that we need to create, for example, mystery atmosphere. And we provide some questions such as who produces the sound, how do they look, what do they do, how do they do that, what kind of instruments do they use, how does the music build the atmosphere, and how can you name the atmosphere. Of course, you can prepare much more or much less questions if you need. Those are just suggestions. And the fifth group will focus on light and darkness, and I think we don't need to show them like pictures or screenshots. I think they can do it by themselves. It can be metaphorically or literally a translation of light and darkness, because there's a light and darkness fighting in team and also outside of team. But we're gonna focus because we are creating Dreamland about the second one, and we ask our students who such questions as who represents lights, who represents dark or darkness, what do you know about luminous, North Star, and the shadow, how does music create an image of dark and light. And the last one, it can be more advanced because it's the look of the city. um, as Magda said, there is two words in here. The first one is the real one, and it's orphanage, and the second is the dreamland. We want to focus on the second one. So if our students have a problem with understanding what the look of the city is, we can ask more questions. If not, then we can just provide the questions that we prepared, like what kind of buildings and other elements of the city, such as squares and bridges, can you find? How does Mocha's place look like? How does the lighthouse look? And how does the factory look? I think that that are those are the most important elements. So as you can see, there's a six group, and they will focus on many elements. We think that those elements are crucial. So we ask our students to work on that, to answer those questions. We can look while they're working, and because we are using tools to see their work, such as Google Documents, for example. And after that, we ask students to present their conclusions and try to decide what elements are the most important and why. And as a assessment, we can ask the students to start a discussion about Nocturna. Is it a good place from a good dream or a scary place from a nightmare? I think it's hard to answer that question, to be honest. And students find arguments to support their statement. It's really important to ask them to find those arguments, because we want to work on critical thinking, and that tool is pretty important. I think it's crucial right now. And optional is homework when they have to create a poster about their dreamland. Also, it can be a short story, or even they can record something, or do interesting short movie. And they need to create the same elements as they examined in Nocturna, because we need to know if they understand what they talked about. So they need to focus on characters, creatures of the night, the look of the city, and the land, and the music as well. Thank you so much for this slide. And Ray, can I ask for another one? Okay. The second activity is with a little help from a friend, and whenever I'm saying that, I hear Joe Cocker singing that song. So maybe we can play that song as well, or it's if you want to. And also, we decided that this activity is will be good for young viewers for age 11, 14. it can be easy or it can be advanced. It depends if we want to compare that movie with another one. I'm going to tell you about that in a few seconds. If we just focus on Nocturna, that level of difficulty is easy. And also we decided that this is a group work because we want to see how can talk to each other and discuss. So also we're going to use a mind map tool, and also we're going to use shared asynchronous documents because we want to see how they're working. And we decided it's going to be for 2 hours, but if you want to see as well the secret of chaos, it will be much more than 2 hours, but it's always up to you. And we have the same subjects, but I think also we can use foreign languages as well. And during this activity, students learn that not only the main character is crucial to the story, they focus on the whole plot and learn that every character is playing an important part. It's pretty important that we are all puzzles in some kind of story or someone's story. And as I said, that additional materials is the secret of chaos because, as you can see in next step, we want to compare that to movies. And the best way to measure students' achievement is a discussion or presentation on or and comparison. Can I ask for another one, please? Okay, in step one, we ask students to find in movies or in other culture texts people, creatures, or forces which help the main characters achieve their goals. And uh, I'm pretty sure that our students will mention about Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings and other important movies or books for them. So we can discuss about that a little bit. Then we ask students to describe the role they played in a whole story, because sometimes we can just we focus only on the main character and we forget that the other characters are important as well, and sometimes they are even more important, I think. We can ask some questions such as what is crucial or meaningful? Was it possible to achieve the goal without their help? And after that, we can watch Nocturna and look at it from that angle. And we ask students to find helpers in Nocturna. If we want to make it advanced, then our students are doing that by themselves. If not, we can help them by providing photos from a movie. I think that they can have a problem with Mocha because it's not obvious helper, but we can help with that. Yeah. Okay, and next slide, please. And the next step is it's a group work. We divide students into 4 groups and ask them to find information about the look, how he, she, they, or it were drawn, character, and attitudes of a helper. First meeting with team, it's pretty important because sometimes the meeting a helper, it's not so obvious. And first impression about the helper, the role the helper plays in that plot, and the final opinion about the helper. And the next step is it's a presentation. And after that, we can finish this activity, or we can start comparison, and we can ask students. We can ask our students to find helpers in a movie, The Secret of Kells, and we prepared here examples that in a Nocturna. Cat Shepherd is an ice link in a The Secret of Kells, but you can do it the way you want. We just want to highlight that in every movie there is a main character and there is a background, and that background is really important for the whole plot. And at the end, we start a discussion. We think that discussion is pretty important because it's about the role of friends in characters, heroes, and our lives. And is the first impression always the right one? Uh, so that's it from my side. Thank you so much, Arai, and thank you so much for listening me.
Thank you, Rafa.
I'm going to share my slides with you. Guys, can you see them? Yeah. Okay, that's great. That's great.
Yes.
Hi, everybody. So my name is Kiki, and I'm a language teacher here in Ireland. And I worked on the educational kit for Nocturna together with my dear colleagues Magda and Rafael. I have to say that we all really enjoyed the movie, and I think your students are going to enjoy it as well, as it is appropriate for upper primary school kids, but also for lower second level students. So this movie gives you the opportunity to explore a variety of themes. And the theme we chose for this activity is the concept of the night and the dark, and how we can use them as a source of inspiration. Because most people associate the darkness and the night with negative feelings. So we wanted to reverse this idea and focus on the fact that the night can also inspire us, and it can spark our creativity, so it can also provoke positive feelings as well. So you'll see that throughout the activities, we try to link different school subjects. So for the first activity, language teachers can actually work together with art teachers. The starting point for this activity would be a discussion about how our protagonist, the main character of Nocturna, Tim, feels throughout the night. And as Rafael and Magda said, the feelings he actually has are quite negative, as he's scared of the night. So we want our students, we're going to ask them what they actually associate the night with. Is it as negative, the feelings they might have? Can they relate to Tim's fears or not? So we would gather all the answers, and of course there's no wrong or right answer here. And we put them together in a poster or in a word cloud. After this, we're going to show our students some famous paintings that portray night settings or night scenes. And I just chose 3 here. Of course, there are so many you can choose from. You can see The Empire of Light by René Magritte, The Seaport by Moonlight by Joseph Vernet, and also Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh. You can ask your students to focus on the choice of colors and the techniques that the painters used, and also to talk about the light and the darkness, the dark colors that are used in the paintings, and how they can complement each other. If you want to bring some history in this, you can do as well by checking the time, by talking about the time that the paintings were created. And you can have a discussion about what was happening in Europe back then. So then you can divide your students into groups, and you can ask them to focus on other forms of art and popular culture that talk again about the concept of night. So a group can work on famous songs, another group can work on poems, they can work on books, on comics, or they can even talk about other movies and myths and legends of their area. After they gather all the information, they can put everything together using the European Film Factory mind map in order to see that the concept of night and the darkness have inspired artists throughout the centuries. So I'm going to just pause here and show you a video about how to use the European Film Factory mind map tool. Guys, can you see the video?
Yes.
Good. But yeah.
You can create a mind map based on a film or a personalized extract. A mind map is a way of organizing your ideas in a tree structure. making visual connections between different elements. On a mind map, you can incorporate videos or video clips from European Film Factory, content from Wikipedia, or any internet link whatsoever, as well as text and images. To create a mind map, select a film or an extract and click on Create. First step, creation. You must create your mind map using a first node, which must be a film or an extract from European Film Factory. We recommend working in full screen and enlarging the node for greater comfort by fitting it to page size. You can save your work at any time. You can incorporate a film or an extract from European Film Factory or Wikipedia content into your mind map. You can also add a blank node. Click on the specific icon, then click on the bottom of the graph at the place where you want to position it. You can edit your node, give it a title, incorporate a hyperlink, add text or image. You can change the size, the color, the thickness, and the shape of the node. Shrinking or enlarging or deleting the node is also possible on the node's dashboard. When you hover the mouse over the node, you will access all display options. To link two nodes, click on Link to another node and drag and click. Any link can be edited and deleted. You can hide one or more nodes. To have the nodes reappear, hover your mouse over the location of a node and click. Or click on Show Hidden Nodes. You must quit full screen mode to go to the next step. Second step, description. Describe and index your mind map. This might involve a simple description or a text addressed to the person with whom you wish to share it. Third step, sharing and posting. If you are a teacher, you can keep the mind map in private browsing mode or decide to make it public, so all users will be able to view it on the website. As with videos, you can share the mind map with your students. You can allow students or other teachers to reuse and change your mind map. To do so, click on Allow teachers or students to duplicate. You will find your mind maps on your account, where you can change and delete them. You will also find the ones you have shared and the ones that have been shared with you. The mind maps under construction that you have saved are recorded in the draft section.
So what you can do here, you can actually, I'll show you. You can have the first node, and that can be the poster of Nocturna or a still from Nocturna, and then students can contribute with a night song, for example, a poem, a book, another movie, a myth or a legend, so they can link everything under the same concept, which is how the night can actually be a source of inspiration, not just for the arts, but for popular culture as well. So I hope this is clear, and I'm going to move on to the second part of the activity. And for this activity, you can actually link with a science teacher or a biology teacher. I don't know, maybe in your schools you have the subject of environmental studies as well. So when you watch the movie, you're going to see that there are some characters that only appear at night, such as the North Star, the shadows, or the hair messers. The same thing happens in nature. So we would talk about nocturnal creatures in our classes. We can talk about animals, insects, or birds that they appear at night. And the students can go ahead and do their own research project based on these creatures.
And I'll give you some examples. There are bats, there are owls, there are badgers, there are fireflies. There are so many creatures out there that the students can be fascinated by them. And then as soon as they get all the information, they're going to draw their own nocturnal character, and then they can add the character into their story, the story of Nocturna, and have a discussion then about how this character can influence other characters in the story, or how it can actually affect the plot, the storyline of the movie. Another option would be to create a flip book. And in order to create a flip book, they're going to need a stack of paper, a binder clip, and a light source. And before I show you a video about how to make a flip book, I would like to share with you an experience I had and how we got the inspiration about this activity. I live in Dublin, so we have a very big botanical center, and they organize night visits. So I said that to my students. I didn't go there with them at night, but they went there with their parents. And during that visit, the tour guide was trying to show them, or to try to find, bats. And the tour guide had a bat detector with him that was trying to track the sound wave that the bats were producing, called the ultrasound. So the students were very excited, those that went and came back to my class, and we talked for hours about bats. So they got this inspiration, and they wanted to create a creature with some bat characteristics. So it was very interesting, and they were very much engaged in the class. So I'm going to show you now how to create a flip book as well.
I've been getting a lot of requests to make a flipbook tutorial. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to make these 3 flipbooks. And then at the end of the video, I'll show you some of the advanced options that I currently use. So this is what you're going to need: a stack of paper, binder clips, and a light source. For your paper, I recommend starting with index cards. You could use a stack of Post-it notes or a notepad, or the corner pages of your math book. But I recommend cards because they're thicker and much better to flip. We'll start with something super simple. I'm just going to draw a stick man, and I'm going to have him wave. Now, the key to keeping your drawings consistent and matching from page to page is you need to be able to see through your current page to your previous drawing so that you can reference it as you draw your next page. So here I'm using a light, and now I can see the previous page, draw over the top of it, and make any changes I want. I'm speeding up the video here. And again, this is just super simple to kind of show you basically how it works. So I'm tracing over his body and moving his arm a little bit for each page. I'm going to make his arm go back and forth about 3 times here. And there are several options you can use for a light source. You could use a light box, an LED tracing pad. If you had nothing else, you could hold the paper up to a bright window. This light pad that I'm using is the one that I've designed that will be included in my flipbook kit. So again, we're keeping this extremely simple. I'm keeping the stickman's body the same, and I'm just moving his arm as he waves. Okay, so now that I've drawn his arm going back and forth a few times, I'm going to have him just drop his arm down to his side, and then I'll be done. So now you just want to line up your pages, and then you can use a binder clip to hold them together. You can get binder clips in different sizes. This is a large and a medium. And let's see how it looks. So if you've never made a flipbook before, this is a really easy first one to try. Okay, so next I'm going to make a bouncing ball flipbook. So I'll start by drawing the ball here near the top. And what I want to do is I want it to feel like the ball is dropping in from above the page. So my first increment is going to be pretty big since the ball is already going to be at speed. This isn't going to be perfect, but I'll draw the next one about here. And then each page you want that distance that the ball travels to be bigger. And the reason for that is because of how gravity works. When an object falls, it doesn't fall at a constant speed, it accelerates. So one thing that might help here is to do a Google image search for bouncing ball animation. And you'll find some diagrams of how a ball bounces, which will give you some good references to follow. But just remember that it doesn't have to be perfect. Just try it out, have fun with it. And now on this page, I'm actually making the ball more of an oval shape, and this will help it to feel like it's moving even faster on this frame. And you'll notice when I flip it, you almost just kind of feel it more than you see it. And now the impact as it hits the ground and squashes flat. Now this next page is just starting to spring back up. Now we're back up in the air. Since gravity is working against us now, the ball is slowing down as it goes up. So we want to make our distance traveled each page to decrease until the ball finally starts falling again. Okay, and we're getting pretty slow here. And now it's just starting to fall back down. And now that it's falling back down, of course, it's accelerating again. So we make the distance increase each page until it hits the ground again. And I'm not squishing it as much as I did the first time since it's going slower. So it squishes less. So for this third bounce, it's just going up a little bit. And now it's falling back down again. Giving it a little squish. Tiny little bounce, and then just settling. Okay, let's see how it looks. And there we have our bouncing ball. Okay, and one more time, slow down so you can see exactly what's happening on each page. All right, for the third flip book, I'm going to have a UFO come down and abduct this little stick person. So this first drawing I'm making is just going to be used as a template. I just want to figure out what my UFO is going to look like beforehand. So on these first few pages, I'm just going to have the stick person standing there before the UFO appears. And now on this page, the UFO is just starting to appear. So we just see the bottom of it coming into view. And I'm just tracing my template here to help me out a bit. And now I can just trace that same drawing and it's coming down a little further. Tracing a template drawing like this isn't something that you have to do. It helps sometimes if you just want an easy way to make sure that your drawings look the same from page to page. Sometimes you have an object moving across the page that it doesn't need to change shape. All it needs to do is move across. And so in that case, just tracing a drawing as it moves along is pretty easy. I'm just going to do some sketchy lines on like 2 pages. And that's it. Okay, let's see how it looks. And one more time, slow down so you can see exactly what's happening. So those are the basics to help you get started. And earlier I mentioned some advanced options that I currently use. This is some custom paper that I had made. It's acid-free, it's really smooth, and it feels really nice when you flip it. Binder clips are great, and I use them while I'm making a flip book, but once it's finished, I like to bind it together with these brass binding screws. I really love the way these things look, and I think it finishes it off really nicely, and it keeps the paper perfectly in line. And this, of course, is my custom light pad, which I designed specifically for flipbook making. All these things are part of my flipbook kit, and I'll put a link to that.
I hope you got an idea of how to create your own flipbook. All the videos, you can find them on the educational kit and on the website of the European Film Factory. You can see that we have a variety of activities on our educational kit. We had to focus on film language lessons, and we also had to focus on the cultural and creative skills of the students. And we hope that these activities are going to spark some imagination and creativity, because these are also very important for our students. And the last thing I would like to mention is that sometimes, it's the way the educational system is developed, and we always focus on activities that would develop the writing skills of students, but there are students who actually struggle a lot with writing. They might have learning difficulties. So it's always good to give them the option and create activities that they are inclusive. And in our opinion, film education and these film activities are quite inclusive, and everybody would feel happy to participate. So that's all from me. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, please feel free to add them here in the chat. Thank you.
All right. no questions are coming, I guess. Oh, never mind. I spoke too early. Some people are writing. But in the meantime, I will just thank you, the three of you, the focus group teachers of the European Film Factory project, Magda, Rafal, and Kiki. It was a great presentation of the NOCTURNA kit. To the colleagues on the call, please go ahead and explore the European Film Factory project website. We have this particular movie and the kit along with several others that you can use for your classroom activities. There are long feature films, animated films, as well as short film programs where we also have some short animations and other kinds of movies, like, for example, documentaries. So there are many different materials for a different kind of classroom activity, let's say, probably not something that you would have seen or done so many times. So yeah, so please feel free to go explore the European Film Factory project website. We have some thank you messages in the chat. Thank you as well. All right, if there are no further questions, I would like to thank everybody for coming in and listening to this webinar. And thanks to the focus group teachers once again for the great presentation. And we will see you for the next time.
Thank you, Rai.
Have a great evening, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening.